You've managed to get a domain name. You want an email using your domain name. You're trying to put it through the Groove domains. You're getting errors saying you've got errors with your Cloudflare account. Go sort it out. What the hell is happening? How do you make it work? Let's find out. Hey, okay, so we're in here. The aim of this one is to work out how you can tweak your records on your domain so that your email can work properly. And I know this came up from a guy called Tyler. Tyler, how you doing? And one of the things there is it gets complicated because when it goes through Cloudflare, sometimes your domain can lose track of how to create an email for your domain, and then it all goes to hell in a handcart sort of thing. So this is a way that we kind of did it, and I'm going to try and explain as well because, hey, I don't really get it myself, but trying to understand the flow of things and where something goes when it's looking for something else and how you can send it hopefully in the right direction. Okay, so what have we got here? We're on your so I'm in Namecheap here. So this is where I've got some domains at the moment before I transition to a different hosting that I've got. But what you do is you go to so right above me here, hopefully you can see that, you'd go to the cPanel. Okay, so I've got the cPanel open. So I'm going to jump across to it. All right. And in the cPanel, obviously they're all slightly different, but they're all very similar, if that makes sense. But you'd go down to where your domain thing is. So over there, can you see on that left hand side there, if you click on domains on that, then you can pull up your domain. Okay, and what I'm going to do is let's go to that and have a look at it. When you're in your domain, so right, I am now completely making a mess of this, because I'm right in the way. So, all right, this is where over here, can you see that one, modify the zones? If you go to that, it opens a new tab, and in there are all the records for your particular domain. You don't have to understand what everything does, I don't think. And if you do, congratulations, I may well be coming back to ask you more questions, but this is kind of what you're doing. When you go to modify the zones, let's have a look what you get shown. All right. So over here, typically what you will find is, so this is, and I don't know if this means someone can hack into this or what, I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving away state secrets here or not, but what you find is as you scroll down, you've got loads of these things and they have different names, the records. So if I go back to the top here, you get a type, okay? And these are your records. You get types of record and you're probably thinking, what the hell is a type? And I totally agree. If I go right here and you click on add record, you can get the different types. And just there, these are the different types of records that you've got: A, AAA, CA, CNAME, MX, SRV, and text. Okay. Essentially, when it comes down to your email, it's this MX. And I don't know, in my head, it's like mail exchange. And that's a record that you want to do. You want to understand what it does. Okay. But when you open up, so I don't want to add a record, so I'll get rid of that. When you open it up and you're faced with all these records, they're normally out of sequence. Okay, so all I do is I click on that to get them, so all the A's are grouped together, the C names are together, the MX is SRVs, and the text. Okay, that's the only reason I do it, just to see what I've got. Now, here's my understanding of it. Okay. When you have an MX file, it's basically, so over on the side, let me try and drag myself over. Okay, so for groove.builders, the domain, what it's saying is, all right, when you've got a mail exchange and it's something to do with groove.builders, then this server is given by, this one was given by Namecheap. Okay, so this is the server name. And this server name is kind of saying, okay, when you land on this particular MX record, go to this server. Now, what's that server going to have information-wise? Right, this is, oops, I didn't mean to zoom in on that. What I do, scroll to the top. Essentially, what it is saying is, okay, if, now let me get this right. On this CNAME here, if it's something to do with www.groove.builders, then you want to, what it's saying is go to Groove Builders. Now you're probably thinking, what's Groove Builders? Well, this is where there's an A record with it. And if we scroll up, we find it's the very first one up there. So if I go over here, and I don't know how useful this explanation is, but you've got a Groove Builders record here, which is an A type record right there. But here's the thing, it's going to point to an IP. And this IP is given to you as to where your things are stored, okay, where it references. So if you haven't got that kind of flow, what happens is when you've got emails and they're trying to route themselves to the correct place, they're going to the wrong place and they're not kind of connected. So anything at the moment that is groove.builders, which is here, which is a mail exchange named record, then what we're saying is, okay, anything with the groove.builders for mail, go here, and that server 231 is coming back here to all these records. And then what it's saying is, okay, when we look at the CNAME here, we go to Groove Builders, and when we go to Groove Builders, up at the top, we get, we come into that IP address, and that's where it's stored. Now, does that really make sense? I don't know. Does that solve the problem? Yes, it did. But it took a bit of faffing around to make sure that you had all this working. And one of the problems that we found was because we put groove.builders into the domains through Groove itself, groove.cm, and because you've got CloudFlare there built in, what we found to begin with was it was saying there's a problem and you need to go to your CloudFlare account. And the problem was we couldn't get to the CloudFlare account because it's not our account, it's via Groove. And so what we were having to do here for the emails was say, right, okay, we need to kind of send it to the server that the hosting is using, the hosting company gives you. But then when it comes to there, we are saying, okay, if it comes through as a mail, you got to send it here, which sends it there, which sends it to an IP. And at that point, it works. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in and have a look at the email setup to just show you what's in the email setup as well. Okay, one of the things that I realized that I haven't really said is how do you add a record? Right above my head there, you can click add record, and let's have a look how you do it. So you'd add a record on here and it just comes up, and essentially what I'm saying on here is when you're filling it in, you literally go to each bit and you would type in what you need to type in. You would, the TTL, that's time to load, and that's in whatever it is, milliseconds, or no, I don't know if that's seconds or whatever, but I think that's before it times out, and comes up with the error message. Then, as I say, you do the drop down to find which one you want to do. So if you don't have an MX record at all, you'd obviously put in an MX. And then this here, this integer, this priority, I think this is where you would, if we have a look, I think you put it in as a priority 0. And what you would do is, can you see, I'll show you here, actually, it's, right, let me move my great big noggin out of the way. Let me just shrink myself down a bit. Let's have a go. Okay, so what you can see on here, actually, it's right there, is the example. So what you would have up here, you'd put in priority 0, and then you would actually put in the domain name, which is actually the server name that you want to put it in, and that will be given to you. And I'll show you in a second when I go back to that email thing. You'll see where the server name is. But that's what you do, and then all you do is when you fill that in, you click add record. If it's a different one, so if it's a C name, you just have the domain name. You don't have that priority thing. Okay. If it's an A record, then can you see there? It's an IP address, and you can find that by typing in what's my IP or something like that. Yeah, I didn't say it was perfect, but you can find that. Normally you'll see it on the other records. Okay, so the IP is already there. Okay, so this is the IP that you would probably want to put in to that IP address. Okay, so that's how you add a record. But let's have a look about this email setup. Okay. All right, so all we did to come back to this cPanel thing was right up there in that top left-hand corner. I don't know if you can see my up here. Can you see the 3x3, the 9 little square grid? If you click on that, you come back to the cPanel, the main cPanel. Okay, and when you're in here, you can do the email accounts. Okay, so what we would do here is, this is where you would set up your email. So I'm going to click on that and we'll have a look what's happening. So in here, if you were wanting to create a new email, you would look at that and you would say create, and you can go in there and it gives you the walkthrough, and all you do is select the domain name you want to do, and it would say put in the first bit at yourdomainname.com or whatever it is. So I could put in Nigel at groove.builders. And so that's how you would create one. But what you're wanting to do here is this one. You're wanting to click this button, connect a device. And this is going to give you the instructions as to how you add that to your phone or your desktop, your email that you use, Outlook, mail, whatever it is. It's going to give you the instructions how to do that, how you add an account to that. So let's have a look at that. Okay, now that we're in here, can you see it says, okay, if you want to configure things, here's the manual list of and the way that you do it. And this is the information that you have to put. So on your email provider, if you click add account, what you normally do is you put your email address in and you put your password in, and what it does is it goes away and it finds it, and then it will test your password, and if it's correct, it'll add it as an account. If you've got to manually input it or add the account and the details are listed here. Now, do you remember when I said on the server records, we had that server 231.web-hosting.com that was in there, and I said that will be given to you. This is where, if you don't know where to find it, do it here on the mail, configure it, and this is where it gives you what it is. Now, the IMAP, the POP3, and the SMTP, these are things that it will ask you when you're setting up your account, how to put things in and what should they be. This is where you get that information. So if it hasn't done it automatically, this is where you manually set it up. Hopefully that makes sense. And when your account is then set up and added to your emails, so your email provider like Outlook or Mail or whatever it is, then hopefully you should be able to send and receive emails. As you set up the account, you may have to enter your password a few times in various places. and things like that. But your information is here, and your password should make it work. All being well, for those of you that are stuck with this one, that is how you try and configure and get an email to work when it seems like you've got a problem with Cloudflare, you can't do it, and you're stuck and you're thinking, I've got a domain name, I want my emails to use my domain name, why the hell won't it work? I don't want a Gmail, I don't want anyone else, I want my, so we've got start at groove.builders, that's what I want. There you go. All right, I'm going to put that up there. If you need anything else, folks, need any help on things like that, go to www.groove.builders. There's loads of free stuff, but have a look. I'll be posting stuff here, and enjoy. All right, good luck with it. Bye for now.